observe it, let it in. And it's a lot of manifestation energy, pulling in these connections, pulling in which serves you, and letting go of what no longer does. Hello, Capricorn. My name is Kristen Simone Hansen, and welcome to SeaGoat Secrets. Hi, I'm Kristen, and I'm a healer. I am going to warn you that I do not have a microphone right now, as I am going through the transition of changing it out. So we are just going with the normal camera audio, and there is construction happening around me, so be wary. In this video, you are going to get a full rundown of the month of May and the remainder of it, its transits, how it affects you, and how things have happened up until this point. I begin with the astrology and I end with the card reading. If at any point in this video you feel connected to me and would like to join my client circle and become a client, you can do so by following the link here and also in the bio. I welcome you. And last but not least, I am a global citizen, and so if you have not already, drop where you're listening from in the comments and we can all connect on a worldly and global level and be one strong collective. Now, with all that being said, let's get into this. Hello, Capricorn. So let's get into the month. Well, actually, let me explain one more time about the audio, okay? We are in the transition of moving toward a better audio system. And I've been experimenting with different things, and I'm kind of doing a lot of stuff in the background in terms of figuring out what I think would be best for us. And what I feel like would make sense going forward. As another reminder, like I said, there is some kind of construction or something going on, and so whatever background noises you hear, I apologize, but I can't do anything about it, okay? So from there, let's get into some of the things that have been going on up until this point. We're going to do a little bit of the reflections of April, and then we're also going to reflect a little bit on what May has been like thus far. So when we look at April had you in a space where it was a lot of Aries energy. We talked so much about the Aries activation and how it was doing a lot for your fourth house and the way that you were transitioning from the way you viewed yourself at your very core into the way that your home environments or your childhood shaped the person that you are right now in this very moment, and how those things were either sitting in your subconscious or actually being applied to the things that you were experiencing in your day-to-day lives. Some of you finally ended relationships that you should have ended a long time ago. Kind of delved into the corners of the shadows of your childhood and came to some very strong conclusions about, if you did not do it in April, you definitely have done it in May thus far. But in terms of the conclusions of your childhood dynamics and how they shaped you and who it is that you really are, the things that were going on that were pushing you in April in terms of having to redefine what home meant to you, but home in the body, most importantly, had home in yourself. And it forced you to have to look at the way that your home environments impacted you, whether negative or positive, and all the things that shaped you. For you guys who were going through marriages, many of you found yourselves really passionate about divorcing or separation, or moving to another level with your marriage that was more honorable to who it is that you really want to be versus who it is that you were shaped to be. So major death rebirth has been going on from April, and also as we're going into May, right? And this death rebirth has been about you identifying you as who it is that you truly feel like. And again, the death of like old characteristics, old personality traits, identities, even your belief systems. Many of you have gone through political changes, social political identity changes, cultural changes, different things where you were literally breaking up with huge chunks of yourself and who it is that you thought that you were. And this kind of has been transitioning you into May. Now, it was either something that was under your control when May found you. I guess let's wrap up with April, right? Sorry, I'm jumping around, but so April left you in a place where it was good to you nearing the end of it, especially financially and especially in terms of your wealth showing and reflecting back to you your value. Okay, so then we stepped into May, and the first week of May was kind of shadowy, where the second week of May was much lighter, and that's the kind of energy that you have right now, this aftermath lightness, but then again this like shadow. So in the shadow for you in this moment is all about you worried that you can't get what it is that you truly desire, that it's been a very long time, and it's kind of like that darkest before dawn kind of feeling that's hitting you right now. So let's kind of back up in terms of May and what's been going on. So a lot of this fourth house activation that took place in April led you into healing the child self that happened in May, or is happening in May. And that's a part of the reason why the shadows found you in the beginning of the month and kind of continued into the second week of the month, where the more you increase your self-value, and I've been talking about this so much, the more your self-worth has increased, the more the past has been frustrating you, the more the past has been, how do you say it? I guess damaging you, right? Almost as if it's re-traumatizing you in a sense, because the more you are valuing you in the current moment, again, self-worth increase. We're in your fifth house activation in Taurus. Taurus is all about the second house. It's all about where you love yourself, pamper yourself, treat yourself, respect yourself. Your wealth of life, wealth of love, wealth of experiences, and most importantly, your physical, practical wealth. And so all of these things have been running through you. And again, the more you realize what it is that you deserve in the moment, you have a clear viewpoint on yourself. It's like the mirror has finally been wiped off. But the issue with that is it's re-traumatizing you based on things that you have experienced in your past. And the way that past has been showing itself now in the present moment. And this is where you guys have been, I guess, dealing with a little bit of despair in that sense of the re-traumatizing experience of what is really true, right? Is the past really affecting you as much as you think that it is, or is it just a part of what's going on in your subconscious? For others of you, it can be, instead of just the subconscious thing in terms of you healing the child self, it could literally be experiences that are forcing you to do this. So again, divorces or separations, things going on with your career. It could be job loss. It could be challenges in the job that you're in because the job that you're in does not serve who it is that you truly are. It was a position that you have been holding on to from your wounded self. And so your wounded self is no longer wounded. And the more, again, the self-worth increase happens, the self-worth increase has basically made it so that the things that are in your life that are not serving your now healed self are becoming unbearable. And again, with this fifth house activation, yes, it's about pleasure and it's about increasing pleasure. Like I've been saying, the priority is how to live a better life, how to bring more wealth and goodness into your experience in order to bring on the serendipity of the new generation, which is the Aquarius Pluto transit, and how it's here to serve you because it's in your second house and it's about increasing your wealth of life and bringing about this peaceful reality post the Capricorn Pluto. So all of these things are here in terms of your karma, but they have to be in your hands. And as they have to be in your hands, you're now at this healing point when it comes to this energy that says, okay, now after everything, you realize your worth, you realize your value, you realize who it is that you really are. Again, anything that you're holding on to that does not serve that, it's almost like you're like an angry mother or father for your own child self, right? Looking back at the past, intersecting with the present moment, and anything that does not make the current you feel safe or feel stable or feel at peace with the home within the self. You really want to build a solid structure around yourself and have a life that really reflects your value systems, but your value systems being at its core in terms of self-care and who it is that you are, what it is that you deserve. And this has been bleeding out into so many different facets and aspects of your life. Again, work environments are more unbearable now than they've ever been because they're kind of screaming at you that you deserve more, right? And you can't be silent about it anymore because of all the healing that you've done. And again, this fifth house activation is about healing the child self. It's like, yes, all these beautiful things, again, with sensuality and pleasure and wealth and all these things, but on the other side, it is the shadow is how do you heal that fifth house energy, which is your relationship to pleasure, your relationship to play, fun, and letting the light in. So this balance has been going back and forth in terms of how your dynamics have been playing out, and it's been causing this interesting back and forth. And then we have this dance between faith or hope and then despair in that sense, right? Like, can you really get what it is that you deserve? Will the light, I mean, you feel it, right? But will the conclusion that you want to happen actually happen? Is what it is that you desire actually possible? Even some of you guys are going through experiences where even if they, in the past, you might have looked at them like they would have been very difficult or very despairing, right? But now you are able to identify when sometimes a loss is actually a win. Or sometimes when things seem very, very difficult, there actually can be an easier way out of it. And it's more accepting that, which has caused you to release the grip on control, because a part of the issue with control when it comes to things that have taken place in the past is traumas have caused you to be overly restrictive. And that over restriction has also made it so that you've hurt yourself, kind of always forcing yourself into boxes and bubbles that did not necessarily serve. So all of that has been melting off as you've been allowing yourself to surrender more to your universe and surrender more to kind of the flow of things happening around you, as I always say, being like water, right? Which is the great surrender. So these things, again, have been playing out. That dance between the shadow and the morning sun in that sense. And then here we are moving into week 3, the infamous week 3 of May that I was talking about in, for example, the career video. And it's like we're at the beginning of this week, and then obviously we're going now into the end of it. So I wanted to talk about a little bit of transits in terms of this energy. So obviously we have Aries and Mars, and Aries is sitting in its masculine home with Mars, and that is accompanied with Taurus and Venus in Taurus is a very happy place, because Taurus is what, I guess in the tarot, represents the Empress energy, right? The archetypal Empress. And in my opinion, the more rooted Empress in that sense, only because, obviously on the other side is Libra, right? Which is the scales. But Taurus is the kind of the beginning of the Empress energy in that sense of being able to plant seeds and see them grow, of a voluptuous body, a love for food and pleasure, but also being a feminine sign in itself, because it is Earth, and Earth is feminine, whereas Libra is masculine. So yeah, so the two are at home with each other, right? We've got the Emperor, the archetypal Aries energy, sitting in Mars, and we've got the archetypal feminine sitting in Venus. And what this has been doing is it's causing the collective in general to have this really nice balance between their masculine and feminine principles. For some of you, it has caused you to have an awakening in terms of love and wanting to really find your balance when it comes to the kind of partner that you want to have around you, the deeper appreciation for the Emperor energy if you are feminine, and a deeper appreciation for the feminine energy if you are an Emperor yourself. And so it's kind of this interesting back and forth in terms of love dynamics, but then also the way that you're getting things done yourself. You're in the driver's seat in terms of the work that you need to do in order to make it so that your feminine can sit more comfortably in her own energy, in order to align with the principles to allow your feminine to flourish, and also to allow your masculine to be able to get the job done. So this is the kind of energy that has been playing out throughout May, but yet and still there is this priority of you not overworking yourself at the same time, and making sure that you're doing more to add more wealth to your experiences. So these things have been playing out. Also, more stepping into the spotlight as well, more stepping into the limelight. I've been talking about this with you guys for some time. Beautifying yourself, allowing yourself to look more beautiful, feel more beautiful. This goes for the masculine and the feminine. You're getting this deeper appreciation. And as you deepen the appreciation that you have for yourself, the better these dynamics in terms of beautifying yourself or watering yourself is becoming. The new moon made it so that you had this renewal in Taurus energy again. An awareness of your self-worth. Many of you guys found yourselves having great downloads about the life that you want to live for yourself, how it is that you can experience true vindication or reciprocation of your energy or your value systems, a great awakening of who it is that you are, almost like the mirror being cleaned off, and you're seeing yourself in a new light. But a lot of things tied to, for some of you, revenge, again, vindication, what that looks like because of the times in the past that you were not able to live the life that was reflective of the self-worth that you have now. And these things were bringing you into awakenings during the new moon. Also, many of you have been finding yourselves looking at long-term plans, how it is that you can amplify this regeneration of your talents or your secret abilities that you discovered during Jupiter in the 5th house, which has been over the past year, and how you can make more wealth, build more streams of income around that energy, really appreciating your creative energy and the talents and natural skills that you have. So from there, it brings us into the end of the month and the blissful energy that finds you during the remainder of this week, but then also as we go into the Gemini Jupiter at the end of the month. The Gemini Jupiter is all about you taking what it is that you learned about yourself and your abilities and your secret talents from the past year, and then applying it and practicalizing it. So this could have, in love, for example, it could have been something that you thought was just a simple fling or a situationship or something actually turning into a long-term connection. And that's something that finds you at the end of the month and then solidifies itself during Gemini season. And that's kind of your kickoff over the next year. What does it mean to stabilize this relationship? For others of you, it could be, in terms of work, you starting the kind of businesses lately or taking on hobbies that kind of came out of nowhere, and now you're seeing how you can really turn these hobbies or these secret talents or abilities or spiritual work, etc., into more practical businesses that make it so that you're living a wealthier life, not only because of what it is that you're gaining financially from these endeavors, but the fact that it's making you wealthier because you're actually enjoying the experiences, turning your hobbies into habits and into systems that actually bring you back financial return. And this is something that awakens you at the end of the month, especially as the full moon finds you with Sagittarius being in the full moon, which is going to have you deep in your subconscious, being able to figure out the different long-term plans that you want to have, a deep expansive perspective about who it is that you can be, thinking about travel. Some of you could be moving, wanting to move out of state, out of city, especially if you've been clinging to where it is that you've been, like clinging to some a space that you're kind of too big for, kind of wanting to expand beyond that and being able to come up with those ideas, plans, dreams, and ideologies. And that's what finds you at the end of the month. I would say the biggest advice from this point on to the second half of May is open yourself for all possibilities in terms of serendipitous blessings. Okay, so as dark as it might feel before dawn, be aware of the fact that dawn is on the horizon. Just because you cannot see it, just because you cannot touch it or feel it, does not mean it's not on its way to you. Do not allow despair to make it so that you attract the wrong things. Continue to open yourself up to the idea that what it is that you can truly desire actually can find its way to you. Okay, so that is what I have for you when it comes to the astrology. We're going to get into the reading now. And we have the Four of Wands as the prominent subject here, with the Ten of Swords in reverse and the Five of Swords. And this is clarified by soulmates and heart with a key. In your shadow, we have the Nine of Pentacles, the High Priestess, and the Hierophant. Interesting that we have the companions of the High Priestess and the Hierophant side by side with one another for your shadow. And the Nine of Pentacles. I mean, the fact that we have major arcanas in your shadow, while there are not major arcanas in your subject, definitely lead me to believing that what is going on in your shadow is taking precedence over what is going on in reality. It's interesting because in the initial reading, the High Priestess was in the subject, so the fact that I'm seeing it here in your shadow now for this reading, I don't think is any coincidence. If we're sitting in a space where there's fear tied to what is unseen. In your shadow, we've got this space with the Nine of Pentacles where you're standing on your own, and for some of you it could be fear that that's exactly where you are, is standing on your own, the independence that you have. Almost as if it does not necessarily feel like you're lacking abundance in this case. It's more like just being on your own, standing on your own, whether you are abundant or not, is a part of the thing that's leaving you in the space of kind of this imbalance. And then we've got this fear of what's going on, and I can't help but feel like, although this is not a love reading, it's kind of going along the lines of commitments. But let's go into your subject. So we've got the Ten of Swords in reverse. Definitely, this does not necessarily feel like some kind of prolonged pain. Usually for the Ten of Swords in reverse, I would say it's some kind of pain that is not being addressed. Like it can be the continuation of some kind of pain. But in this case, I would say it's the removal of this. It feels like the removal of pain, and you finding contentment in the Four of Wands energy, finding contentment within yourself, your home environment, the things that give you peace of mind within your own narrative, the celebration, the sense of self, and it feels really happy. I mean, we've got it along with the soulmates and heart with the key. That's quite beautiful. It's an openness, it's a celebration, it's a happiness, it's a joy here. But this also is in combination with the Five of Swords, which I think is interesting. Ten of Swords in reverse, Five of Swords. And in this case, I would say the Five of Swords is about not wanting to fight anymore. It feels like you're putting down these swords, or you're putting an end to these situations. There has been great fight, a great war in that sense. But you're feeling better, you're feeling happier. It's the end of that. You're connecting with others. You're opening yourself to love. When we look at what's going on in your spiritual advice, we've got new birth, guarded vigilante with dream a beautiful dream. We go, it's similar how this energy is reflecting back with this energy, and it goes back in the same perspective of dreaming a beautiful dream, right? Moving into this space of a new reality, and yet and still we're here where you've got the eerie rebirth conversation, right? And it's reflecting this very well, where we're going back into the space of, okay, this eerie Five of Swords, but this celebratory happy Four of Wands. And it's because you've had these swords in your back. So you're definitely coming from a space where there were swords in your back. There was betrayal, there was trauma, there was pain that you've been kind of carrying for some time. But this pain is now coming to its end, right? These swords are being drawn out of your back, which is quite interesting. The Ten of Swords is a completion card, but in this case, it is about these finally being pulled out, kind of turning yourself upside down and pulling them out. And I would say it's mainly because of the way that you're perceiving things is different. Your perception of things is different this time around, and that's a part of what's pulling these swords out. And yeah, you're opening yourself to new combinations in terms of other people, new connections, new dynamics. Your soul is opening itself to be able to connect with others or things that equate to the soulmate energy. Your soul is allowing itself to be replenished. And it's because your heart is open. That's what's taking these swords out of your back from this space of the Five of Swords that has been taking place, this fight. And this is what's similar here in terms of, okay, you're allowing yourself to be reborn again. You want to feel better now. You want to be in a better place now. And so this is where you're pulling these swords out. And it's a lot of swords energy, a lot of fighting, a lot of pain, a lot of difficulty. Let's look at what's going on with this spiritual guidance. We've got the seven blessings of Eve. Eve in this case refers to the Eve of the Bible. That's why we have the serpent with the egg. A spiritual gift shall enter your heart and manifest as a blessing in your life. You have innate talents and abilities which will support your soul into fullness, glorious manifestation. Into full, glorious manifestation. You have been blessed with a beautiful divine destiny to fulfill. You have the natural healing ability. Choose your thoughts and words so they reflect what you truly wish to put into the world, because your influence is stronger and further reaching than you realize. Interesting how we're talking about talents and abilities. Glorious manifestation. The beautiful destiny, natural healing ability. Choosing your thoughts because they reflect upon that which you wish to put into the world because of your influence. And it's interesting because we're going back into the space of your ability to influence your own reality, where you opened your heart, right? Opening your own heart. You have the influence over your own reality. Again, we go back to the swords being taken out of your back, like you're putting yourself upside down and you're allowing them to finally fall out. And it's because we go back into this space of you putting yourself in control of how this energy pans out so that you can be here. It's like shifting the perspective. Shifting the perspective so you can experience these gifts that are showing themselves. But again, they come from you. It's interesting because we have 7 and we have 8, right, with bath call. Bath call is fire for me, or 7 blessings of Eva's earth. Eschew complicated explanations as you seek the simplicity of the deepest truth of your heart. Gently but firmly cast aside that which does not resonate as being true for your heart. Focus upon and speak from a higher spiritual perspective. All prayers are answered at the perfect time and in the perfect way. You have a powerful voice which can foster healing and wisdom on the planet. We go back to this conversation of voice. Both of these go back to voice, which I think is interesting. It's all about you being in control of the narrative. Voice. You're in control of the narrative. You're in control of this shift of energy. You're the one that's in the driver's seat. It's your foot that's going forward. You are in the domination role. You're dreaming a beautiful dream, as in you yourself are putting together this energy to bring yourself to a space and you can be reborn and finally step out of this 10 of Swords energy. You have to gently but firmly cast aside which does not resonate, right? And it's because you're now in a space where you're understanding how to let in these gifts. You're now understanding who it is that you are, and your own abilities. Choosing your thoughts wisely, being very strategic about how you navigate yourself in situations. And that's what puts you in this space of the 4 of Wands, because there's a lot of celebration here. There's a lot of happiness here. But it requires you to put yourself out of a certain space, because there has been a fight, there has been a war, there has been these kind of energies. The funny thing about the 5 of Swords as well is it can be a very vicious energy, but it also at its core is somebody who doesn't want to fight anymore, right? You've been in this battle, but it's not necessarily to say that you wanted to be in it. It's not necessarily to say that you chose it, you know? It kind of chose you. But like I said, we have in your shadow this 9 of Pentacles, what you're afraid of, what you do not know. You're afraid of things that are bigger than you. What is bigger than you? We've got the double moon here. Fear of the unknown, of influences higher than yourself, navigating the way your system is going to operate and the way it's going to go. And there's something about your independence that is leaving you in a space of worrisome energy as well. Almost like you've been doing it by yourself for a little bit too long. And so it's this fear of what will happen, right? Fear of how things will navigate, how they will go. And that kind of anxiety or internal worry has been navigating and making your decisions for a very long time. But it's a matter of you finally putting yourself into a position where you want to be in, where you're just like, you know what, I'm taking these swords out of my back, I'm putting these things down, and I'm finally stepping into a space of the 4 of Wands and self-celebration. I'm opening my heart and my soul to connect with things that are deeper than myself. I'm separating from these complicated ways of viewing situations, allowing things to burn off of me that no longer serve me. Just let it all burn off and let it all fall. Allow the bridges to burn, the things that no longer are necessary to shrivel up and disintegrate. Allow yourself to be reborn. This is a beautiful energy. I think it's very, very nice. And saying, you know what? I surrender. I'm letting it in. Okay, so this is your reading. It's pretty short, but I think it's to the point. Let's see what else we've got for you in terms of... Oh, and at the bottom of the deck, we have the 5 of Wands in reverse, right? So it goes back to this space again. It's like putting down the fight. Let's see what's going on there. Putting down the fight. What else do you need to know? We've got the Lovers here with the 2 of Wands. Opening yourself up for new beginnings, new directions, new connections. But again, this is your personal reading, right? So what does this mean? This means you stepping out, opening your soul, opening yourself, your energetic body to let new things in. This is forward movement, but it's forward movement through connection, allowance, opening. The past is the past. The now is now. You deserve it, let it in. And it's a lot of manifestation energy, pulling in these connections, pulling in which serves you and letting go of what no longer does. But okay, so that is your personal reading. I love you. Ciao.